everybody. Welcome to Principles on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories. Today, we're going to be talking about teamwork, how you as a solo is not as important as building a team. So how your solo strategy will always lose to teamwork is what we're going to be talking about today. So I just got off of Facebook Live where one of our principals was videoing, showing us her team building activities that was going on right then and there. So we know that the team building activities is a very important thing. But if you are a newly assigned principal or you're a returning principal and you've had all your fun or you're having your fun and you're doing your team building activities to begin the school year, just rah, have a great time. But for some of you, if you're like me, you've checked those activities off your list or you're checking those activities off of your list as a task that you just need to complete. Well, I want you to say that you want to say let's get this school year moving. But I want you to stop right there. I remember as a person who had applied for a principal position, I was an assistant principal, and I went and I sat in on that principal interview. And of course, I had done all the work. I had been a teacher, and I had been an assistant principal. I'd gone to graduate school, passed all my certification tests. I had done, curriculum writing and done presentations and everything. And I just felt, I'm going to go on and apply for this position. Well, the word got out that, hey, we're hearing that, maybe you might be up for that position. So I was checking, and they said that that they were going to have the board meeting that night, and that they were going to make the decision as who they were going to recommend for that position. So anyway, some friends and I, we kind of sat around. We didn't go inside the board meeting, because man, I didn't want to be embarrassed being in there. And, I wasn't the one that was going to be selected. So I found out that I was chosen for the position as the principal of secondary middle school. And I said, oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. But little did I know everything that I was going to have to do as a principal. Things like managing people, managing data, managing processes. First of all, I had to improve the school because the school was an underperforming school, a school that had been designated by the Education Commission as one that needed extra help. And they were expecting me to turn that school around. I had to shape the vision. I had to create a culture a place where people wanted to come, people where students wanted to come, a place where people in the community say, oh, yes, that's a good school. I had to cultivate the leadership of that school. Now, if you're like me, most of you who were assigned to an underperforming school, or you're a school in an urban school district or rural school district, most of the people you found there, you didn't get a chance to even choose the teachers that you were going to have as your staff. And some of you got a chance to choose your staff, but you didn't have a whole lot of staff to choose from. So you did the best you could with what you had. So here you are, you're having to do all these things. And the big thing is that everybody's going to look at you. Everybody's looking at you to get this done. So you're saying to yourself as a new principal, as a returning principal, how am I going to get this done? Who can I get to help me? How do I trust people? Because, as a new principal, they always give some information about the people who are surrounding you. They talk about your secretary, say, oh my goodness, be careful of that secretary, because of the last principal, she did this and she did that. Or that assistant principal, he wanted your job. So just be aware of that. Or you may say, that counselor, that's one that they just been passing around the school district, and that's the one that you're left with. You hear all of those things. But let me tell you, stop. I know you're a brilliant person. I know you're a talented person. And I know that you know how to get the job done. But as Michael Jordan said, talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, how you can get your team to win championships. We're not talking about just winning games. We're talking about winning championships. And so don't blow off the idea or the importance of teams, because I know some of you, you're going to hold everything to heart. And you think that nobody else can do the job as well as you can. You're going to have people working for you, and they're going to be afraid to make decisions unless you put your stamp of approval on it. You cannot leave the building unless somebody is calling you wherever you are to give your approval to do something. That is not an element of a team. That is an element of somebody who wants to control everything. And as the principal of the school, you cannot get that done. You're going to have problems with your students. You're going to have problems with your teachers. And we're in an era where we are working on retaining our teachers, on building our teachers, and developing our teachers. And the only way you can do that is with the team. So let's look at the first thing that you need to do. You need to establish a clear and shared vision. So what do you mean by a clear and shared vision? So you're saying that here's a school that has been designated as underperforming. You have to decide just one thing or two things that you can do with that school. First of all, to show evidence that there has been some change. Secondly, you are going to have to decide that with a team of people. Now, you are going to assemble your team, and you can pick these people like you want. Now, will you get all the right people in the right places? You know, as they say, the right people in the right seats on the bus. You're just going to have to go on and step out and do the best you can with that. So you're going to assemble a team, and you're going to come up with a clear vision. You are going to set up some type of workshops, vision setting workshops. Here's what we are going to do. Now, the purpose of doing that is you are not just doing this by yourself. You have other people with you. So that means that you all understand where you're headed, where you're going. So when things fall, you as the leader of the team, you have your teachers to support you. So you're going to do that. And then you're going to let everybody know just what the vision of the school is. So your vision can be something as simple as we will have 100% of our 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders to meet standard on the state exam, or to make progress on the state exam. Now, you may get pushback for that, but at least everybody knows the direction that we're headed. We're headed for 100%. We're not headed for 75%. We're not headed for 60% because, on the last test, they were looking at scores of 30%. So all you saying, let's go on. Let's make our vision that we will have 50% of our children meeting standard. No, let's shoot for 100%. Let's shoot for the top. So that means that there is going to be nothing acceptable but ways to get our students to be acceptable at the score that we're looking at. That's your vision. You are going to align your strengths, and you're going to have specific roles that you're going to have your team to share. And then that's how we are going to have a shared vision. You're going to align your people. Once you have that shared vision, once you have all of your, as Jim Collins would say, once you have all of your people in place and good to great, then it's time for you to go on and to make your steps. So what you will do, you will introduce your team building activities that's going to encourage openness. So on your calendar, you can name your team whatever you like your team. On your calendar, you may decide that you want to meet with your team once a week, and you will have specific things that you are focusing on your agenda. And within that agenda, you will have specific things, and you will report how you are moving, if you are moving forward or if you're moving backward. And everybody has to be open. You want to have that weekly meeting because you want to have regular feedback loops so that your team members can share their thoughts about what it is that's going on. So in that context, you want to have a culture of open dialogue. Now, what I'm giving you today about team building is just a framework, because there are so many intricacies that are involved in working with a team. But you have to start somewhere. You have to get your team in place. And you have to, one of the most critical things, you have to be able to have an open dialogue with your team members. Now, you cannot sit around that table and you are the one who is giving all the directions, and all your team members are just sitting around the table following your directions. Nobody feels comfortable enough to say, well, I really don't think that's going to work. Nobody is going to say, why don't we change this and move here? Nobody's going to say that. You have to establish that culture where there is open dialogue. And as leaders, we fall into that trap. I remember the story of meeting with my team, and my teachers told me that one of the lead teachers said that the things that we were deciding in our team was not going to work, and she was not going to do it because that is not something that has worked in the past, and it is not going to work now. She said for us to look at her success stories and to look at her scores, and she is going to do the same thing that she did in the previous years to get the results that she had. I became furious. I said, oh my goodness, what? She's not going to do what we tell her to do? So would somebody go and send for Ms. Harris and have her to come down to our team meeting, please? Because I want Ms. Harris to tell me this face to face. Well, Ms. Harris, I, got the message that you said that you're not going to do what we told you to do. And she said, well, Dr. POLK, that's absolutely correct. I said that those things that y'all are doing, that's not going to work. I don't care who says it. It's not going to work. What I have been using over the years with my class has worked, and it will continue to work. And that's what I'm going to do. Oh my goodness. She was telling me that I'm the principal in front of all these people. I told her, and I did what they call the windshield wiper. I said, I tell you what, Miss Harris, you go on and you do that, but you better have some good scores. That's right. That's what I said. You better have some good scores. How dare me? That was not an opportunity for open dialogue. I knew what I wanted. The team knew what they wanted. They didn't get back with the other teachers to see just if that was going to work or not. But if you expect to have your team to work, you have to foster a culture of an open dialogue. You have to have people on your team who you can trust. You have to have your mind open so that you can listen to what teachers have to say. And then you have to trust. You have to trust them, and they will trust you. And this is what it's going to take in order for you to transform your school into a hallelujah success story. Now, I know that if you are in an urban school or if you are in a rural school, that the community is depending on you. You make the difference, not only in that school, but you make the difference in that community. If you're in a community where there are so many, low income families, these families are depending on you to help them teach their children to become productive citizens of the community. They don't want to hear about the school to prison pipeline. They want you to help them. And you cannot do that without a team. It takes all of us to help that school, to help your school. And it takes you saying, I don't care who gets the credit, as long as these students get what they need and they become successful students in the community. Not just this year, not just next year, but for generations to come. For students to say, if it wouldn't have been for your school and your teachers and for your leadership, they wouldn't be where they are today. So, can you do this job alone? Are you going to be the solo principal because you have that ego and people can't do anything without you? Well, I want you to know that the solo strategy will always lose to teamwork. And as Michael Jordan said, your talent can win games, but you need a team to win championships. So, if there is anything that you have learned today, or you think that you want to have more information about, you can do that right now. I know that we have some teacher shortages. I know that we have all kinds of things affecting education right now. And I know you as a principal, you can do the best you can. But let's look at forming a winning team. Let's look at forming something that is done with purpose, something that has a deliberate process. These steps that I've given you today, they serve as a roadmap to guide you through this transformation, through the journey that you're going to have, so that at the end of this journey, you can say, we are celebrating a hallelujah success story. So give me a call at barbaraypolk.com, or you can grab a copy of our free 10-page handbook, How to Sustain School Success, because a lot of you have made it. You want to continue, or some of you just didn't quite make it and you want to continue to improve. And of course, join our Facebook group if you haven't already done so. If you are already a member of our Facebook group, you can invite your friends to join at Principals on the Come Up. And we will continue to have these discussions. I would love to have a call with you to discuss some of the challenges that you may be having at your school. It's early. Let's go on and get it fixed right. Let's go on and get those frameworks set right now, so that as you go along, when the first reporting period has come, you can see that you have some movement, you have some changes. You are beginning to see the change in the students and in the faculty and in the community as well. So this is what we are going to accomplish, and this is what we do. So this is Principals on the Come Up, where we transform schools into Hallelujah Success Stories. We'll see you next time.